Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tiebreaker Monday. That's right, bonus League of Legends coming at you on this fine Monday. 2 tiebreakers we have to break. It'll take 4 games to do it. I am James Patterson, standing by with Prowley, Mark Z, and Azael to kick off this Tiebreaker Monday. Gentlemen, how are we feeling after some wild scenarios that got us to this position over the course of the weekend? And now we have a battle for the all-important second place and a battle just to get the final spot in playoffs.
I mean, super exciting. I think especially the playoff one is the one that I'm most interested in. The top 4, because they're all locked, it's mostly about playing for seeding. You know, TSM's at 5th. They're not in the top half of the playoff bracket. But who else is going to join them in that kind of quote-unquote losers bracket between Immortals, Dignitas, and Golden Guardians is super interesting.
Yeah, well, Mark said it, but as you can see here on your screens now, this is the way the league currently stands. Cloud9, 17-1, tied for the best record in the history of the LCS. Kudos to them for that one, but that perfect season still out of reach here. 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses, FlyQuest, that's that first 3-way tie for second place that we've been talking about. Followed by TSM solidly into 5th place, and then of course our second 3-way tie, Immortals, Dignitas, and Golden Guardians. With those 2 3-way ties, let's go ahead and take a look at our schedule though, and how we will be playing them out, because we will split them up, and this is how it works. First up, Dignitas versus Immortals. The winner of that match will move on to Game 3 to face Golden Guardians for that 6th and final spot in the playoff picture. The second game of the day, 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest. The winner of that one will move on to the 4th game of the day to face Evil Geniuses for that 2nd place in the playoff picture. So that's how it breaks down for today. We'll keep you apprised, though, of everything as it happens. I do want to get straight into that tiebreaker 1. Mark, you called it out. This one is for an opportunity to play in the postseason. So I would, in a way, I would say greater stakes than the other one, just because you want to make it there. But probably thoughts on Dig facing Immortals in Game 1 of the day. This is a rematch from just a couple days ago.
Yeah, and it's not just a rematch, it's a rematch from a monstrosity of a game. I think both teams left their game on Saturday going like, how the hell did we end up here? Because, yeah, neither team played exceptionally well, and I don't think either team can like mimic the plays that they had on Saturday. So going into this game, I think both teams are kind of probably taking a little bit from their Saturday game, but mostly coming into today with slightly new strategies, and I'm kind of curious how this game is going to go, because both couldn't have been happy with their performance on Saturday.
No, I mean, Dignitas is maybe happy they came away with the win, right? But Immortals was sitting on Ocean Soul for nearly 30 minutes in that game, managed to lose with Ocean Soul with a bear, and that game was absolutely ridiculous. The one thing I will say is working for Dignitas coming in is that they're coming off a 2-0 weekend, going to be riding a little bit high, I think, off of that momentum, whereas Immortals just lost both their games. They had 2 opportunities to avoid these tiebreakers that they now have to play. And I think it's hard to not have that in the back of your mind, just kind of eating away at you, that we shouldn't even be here. We should already be in playoffs.
Exactly. Both teams with a 3-6 record on the back half of the split, but as you mentioned, Azael, the momentum squarely in Dignitas' favor with the 2-0 week as compared to the 0-2. Mark, coming back to you though, what has it been, that Dignitas was able to rely on this week to get that 2-0, and what of it? I know probably said it was a messy game. They're not going to be able to emulate too much of it, but what of it could they maybe bring in here to again take down Immortals one more time and give themselves the shot at that 6th place?
They've been playing a lot of scaling so far this weekend to get their 2-0, and I think it's the right idea. They tried playing more to what I think is their natural tendencies for guys like Huni and Akaadian to be really aggressive, but they hadn't been clean enough to actually execute on early mid-game comps, so they've resorted to more late-game ones, and going up against Immortals, who has shown very little proclivity for closing games out, means that it's actually a great idea to pick things like Ornn, Aphelios, Orianna, like all these things that they're going for are all going to work great for taking these long extended games against Immortals.
And probably for Immortals, is it just that final step of closing out the game? Because as we mentioned, they were in such fine position with an Ocean Soul in that last game, and yet it slipped away. But I'm looking at these veteran names like sOAZ and Xmithie, and I have the expectation that they should be able to close a game.
Yeah, sOAZ and Xmithie are really smart players, and I think you can attribute a lot of their late game victories to how they shot call the game. But in their game against Dignitas, they almost were trying to be too creative with how to win the game, and they're trying to split push, and they're trying to two-man Baron instead of just grouping and team fighting with their Ocean Soul. So hopefully Immortals kind of has a bit more clarity today, and they can actually see how to win the game.
Immortals, they let it slip through their fingers the last time they played Dignitas with a lead, but they get one more crack at it to see if they can move on, face Golden Guardians for that 6th and final spot in the playoff picture. We are going to let them roll through the first phase of bans before I hand it off to our casters for the call of the first game of the day. Rumble looks like it'll be the 6th and final ban, alongside a couple marksmen, some bruisers, and a mid laner there for Dignitas. So we're kind of playing the field at the moment, Aphelios being locked in immediately, and that's my cue. Casters, take it away.
Desks, as I am Freak alongside the one and only, it's Kobe.
And guess what? Johnsun already got his one and only most played best champion by far. It's Aphelios, his 8th play on the champion. Twice as many, more than twice as many as every other AD carry that they have gone for. And it really does showed yesterday in the team fights.
Yeah, absolutely massive. He did a ton of work in the late game. Good aggressive plays in there as well. Immortals probably going to answer with Misfortune down here. And I think it's worth spending a lot of time talking about the fact that these teams played 2 days ago. Immortals built at their peak a 7,658 gold lead with Ocean Soul and threw it all away by failing to pick any kind of a decent team fight. Dignitas actually grabbing the Pantheon that Immortals played against them.
Yep, Xmithie was piloting that one. Does have the point-and-click CC to set up. I actually love Pantheon in the jungle right now, despite the low solo queue win rate, because it does open up so many options for you with tower diving, having the directional immunity on your shield, as well as setting up other forms of CC on your team. So having this champion already locked in for Dig, I could look for, higher DPS like Cassiopeia or something to really carry a late game team fight, because Pantheon can actually set her up and protect her early.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It'd be fun to see that combo together. They're going to wait, of course, to the second phase of picks to see what mid laner does come through, as they're going to wait for a top laner most likely as well. So waiting around for the final phases of bans. We're not getting dropped off away from Huni. Mordecai, I think, will go unpicked here in this one. I think they're maybe off that train finally. Yes, technically it won, but honestly...
The 1-7-3 Mordekaiser victory for Huni yesterday. Top difference, count it.
Top difference. Oof. Yeah, I mean, geez, that game was something else. Dignitas had less kills than deaths. Apollo was deathless in that game. Eika only had 1, and it was a throw. Let's be real. That was a throw, and that would have been Immortals into playoffs. Instead, either of these teams has to 2-0 to make it into the postseason. They must win this game, and then an hour from then, play Golden Guardians and win that game as well. That will be the fight for the 6th and final spot. Loser here is the 8th seeded team, which means nothing for you in Spring Split. That is what's on the line here for these two squads, as Silas and LeBlanc are banned away from Eika.
Yeah, and looking at the team comps already, Dignitas are already looking at Immortals hard engage. They've got Sejuani and Sett. Some of the best hard engage that you can have champion for champion in the game right now. So they're trying to figure out what sort of carry they can actually get for Froggen. Ooh. That is not going to go down. Yeah, talked about the hard engage. Well, they raise you one, up the ante here with the Leona. This is a hard dive comp, and they've got Misfortune Ultimate coming over the top. So Immortals, like the analyst S kind of touched on, going for one of those giant AoE 5-on-5 hard engage.
Orianna with Cleanse seems likely here for Froggen. That Ignite is not going to stick. We know it's now Pantheon in the jungle as Aatrox comes through the top side. That'll be the answer to Sett here for Huni. And we get to see what the mid laner is now for Immortals, knowing that he's up against this Orianna. Syndra's, of course, gone. LeBlanc's already gone. Silas already gone. Rumble, Victor, all those bans already through. So, time to see what he wants to play. And it's probably AoE Teamfight Mage.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about the Cassiopeia for Dig side, but I think it would work for Immortals side as well. Instead, they're going to go with the poke. for a little bit more pick potential here. You know, they already have long range CC with Sejuani and Leona. If you hit someone with a sleepy trouble bubble, that is easily followed up on by either of those two tanks in the front line. So
yeah,
the cleanses, I think, will be necessary for as many carries as Dig can actually take them on, which will right now be Froggen and Johnsun. No real surprise picks coming out, though. No new champions entering the arena. Much more of the standard.
Okay, so Immortals, they're finding a lot of hard engage, a lot of ways to move in and close out the game. That's going to be the goal for them. It was the inability to do so that deprived them of an automatic playoff spot already. So I'm hoping it's not an overcorrection. This is a team who has had problems closing out games in a conventional way. A lot of their wins have been through interesting backdoors and TP plays and whatnot. So we'll see if a very obvious team fight team can work for them. Meanwhile, Dignitas, it's a lot of comfort. Huni's Aatrox is good. Froggen's by far most played is the Orianna. Johnson's by far most played is Aphelios. So a standard team fight could go very well for them. Now, of course, we are going to take a 5-minute competitive integrity break. We'll be right back after that with the game, so stick around. Hello everyone and welcome back to the show. Game is about ready to begin and it is a battle for a chance at the 6th and final playoff spot. Dignitas on the blue side, Immortals on the red. The loser is just the 8th place team. You beat CLG, you beat Liquid, and your spring split is done. We'll see you in summer. If you win this game though, you face Golden Guardians in about an hour's time. That is the battle, our third game of the day. That battle will be the fight for the last playoff spot. We'll see you in the lower bracket, and we'll see how far you can go. We are on to the Rift, and it's going to be an exciting one as we got to figure out who can take this one home. Dignitas, I saw they tweeted out themselves, how do we keep getting this much comfort? Once again, a game on Aphelios for Johnsun. I mean, he has been popping off on the champion. Yes, it's been nerfed in 10.6. I don't think every team needs to play it, but certainly Immortals think Dignitas can, and they love first picking it, so that is something to watch for, absolutely. Looking at a fairly standard spread of champions so far overall. Do want to point out that Immortals have gone for a very, very heavy engaged draft. The Sett, the Sejuani, the Leona, all really good at going forward. And this is a team that, though they have pulled a lot of interesting sort of comeback wins in the late game, conventional game endings have not been what's good for them. They threw a heavy gold lead against Dignitas just 2 days ago. Akaadian doing the very standard, drop a trinket, recall, grab a sweeper, get out onto the map, hit a blast cone, start the red buff looks like for him, with a leash from his bottom lane. Meanwhile, Sejuani and Sett, by the way, incredible jungle start. You always start E on the Sejuani. Sett has really good attack speed, so you just keep stacking up permafrost, getting the stun, triggering it, and then stacking it up again. It's a very, very, very fast leash. So I expect Xmithie to be a little bit faster on that. You can see, bam, E auto, 2 autos will kill it, and he's going to be slightly ahead of the Pantheon. Despite getting an arguably less autos, less damage from the teammate in the leash. Very early laning phase, by the way. Leona has a really hard time doing anything level 1. I would argue that it's easier to be a Nautilus. Johnsun has the attack range lead here as well, so definitely going to be powerful. Do want to point out, as I've been monologuing for over 2 minutes now, that yes, this is a solo cast for now while we are solving a couple of quick audio issues with Kobe. He will be back pretty soon into this game, and you'll hear him say, "Hey, I'm back!" or, you know, something excited, and then you'll know. In the meantime, test my shots like it's maybe 2006 or something, back when almost never actually duo-cast online games. It really throws me back to the Warcraft 3 days, so we're going to hopefully do pretty well here. Early mid lane, looking pretty standard here, as Froggen almost always an immaculate CS'er. I do want to point out that Eika, of course, pretty good in his own right here as well. I say this, of course, Froggen misses a melee minion, but going to poke him back and forth. But yeah, early Aphelios lanes are really, really powerful. You have the range lead. If you don't dodge the Q, that's an extra Q plus auto attack. It's a million damage at that point. But right now, the push lead is going to Apollo. That's the squad. A quick gank in the mid lane, though. Eika gonna have to try to run away. Thankfully, does have Summoner Heal, plus the Sorcerer Rune to give you move speed on Summoner Spell, plus everything else to just barely get away from that one. But oof, that one's gonna hurt. A nice gank in the early game for Akaadian. Sorry for missing that one a little bit earlier on. Do you want to point out that Xmithie is actually 2 camps ahead right now, and Akaadian is hatching a ward. So his location is known. They know he's doing top scuttle. Xmithie would rather take the Krugs in the meantime, though, and simply wait around for the next play. Huni going to get some poke off on a sOAZ, and has even a decent spot. It's on his side of the map, especially with them knowing Pantheon's over top side. You can see how defensively sOAZ is to play. Won't quite bleed too many minions. There's like 30 aggregate health on 3 of those, but won't quite drop that farm just yet. Next time the W is up, you can kind of hit that from long range. Xmithie puts a defensive trinket down. Okay, no Pantheon just yet, but now as Huni's pushing in, if there was to be a dive, it would be kind of as this wave crashes in. That's not likely to happen. I think sOAZ is too healthy here. Xmithie says, okay, yeah, this is not realistically diveable. I've got a trinket ward here anyway, no problems, and nothing really happens. So Huni's going to go and check the Krugs. Okay, it's been taken, good to know, but now he can kind of guess where Xmithie has been and where he will be. He's cleared top jungle. Probably going towards the mid or bottom side now at this point. Always a fan of having a bot lane that can stun the Scuttle Crab, by the way. Absolutely absurd amount of gold and XP picked up if you can get that one to happen. Seems to happen very, very rarely in my games, but I think it's really, really effective. Look at that, 31 to 21 CS in the mid lane. Now, to be fair, yes, there was a gank in mid. Akaadian showed up, he got the stun off onto Eika, and it forced a really, really rough recall, but still 10 CS lead is awesome. In the bottom side, gotta give credit to Apollo and Hakuho, who are ahead right now. one thing I want to point out is Aphelios has incredibly low base health and very low magic resist for a AD carry, which means champions like Leona, who actually have good magic damage threat, are actually are more often in lethal range against Aphelios than a champion like, say, Draven or Misfortune or Callista, who have higher stats early game. So it can occasionally force Johnsun to play more defensively and a bit farther back, because sometimes there's kill threat on Aphelios when there isn't kill threat on a more conventional marksman, or I should say just any other marksman realistically, because almost all of them have 30 and he has 27. Quick wave clear the bottom side. There should be a BF sword recall. Usually if you're CSing really well, 5-minute recall is what you're looking at. It lines up with Cannon Wave coming down. You can see as the observers pan over. Thank you for that. Also looking at Xmithie. But yeah, if you can clear the wave that crashes at 5 minutes and you're CSing well, like you're going to approach about 50 CS, that's enough for a BF sword. It's the one that the Cannon Wave comes into, and that is the mark you should really measure yourself against when you're playing solo queue, is are you laning well if you can get a recall off at 5:30, buy a BF sword and get back. That is like the first timing you're really looking for. Players will often talk about how in mid lane, the first melee of the second wave is level 2. In bot lane, the third melee of the second wave is level 2. That's like a level breakpoint, but a farming and recalling breakpoint would be 5 minutes, 20-ish seconds, clear the wave, take the recall. That is ideal if you're CSing well. One thing to kind of keep in the back of your minds. It also means, by the way, because mid laners hit 6 at 6 minutes, it's another easy one to remember. Level 6 at 6 minutes, the timing is really nice. It means that if you do the 5-minute recall, the 5:20 recall, you're in lane with a BF sword when a level 6 mid laner tries to roam to you. So it lets you sort of have the stats to match a mid laner potentially if they come down to dive you. So things to keep in mind. Maybe that'll help you on your own time. Shout out to Immortals, of course, with their bot lane control, right? They got the first recall. They had the BF sword. Apollo got to kind of manicure some bot lane control if he wanted it. Was back in lane. The Aphelios returning to lane meant they had the map control to go for the Drake, no problem. So pretty good stuff that is kind of paid for by the fact that Apollo and Hakuho had a slightly stronger laning phase. They had a CS lead, they had the push lead. The recall got the sword, went right to Drake. Good stuff there. Froggen now up 17 CS in mid. He's been growing his lead ever since that first gank came out. He's now up 3 waves. That's impressive stuff for him. Akaadian down 2 camps. You know, to be fair, Xmithie is farming pretty nicely. I would argue Pantheon is slightly more of an early game jungler, or I would say a slightly weaker late game jungler than Sejuani, so kind of onus on him to be good in the early game, but so far not happening just yet. We are still working on Kobe's mic to point out, those who are watching for the solo cast. We are also considering other potential co-caster options. You know, I am not destined to solo cast forever, so we'll see if we get someone else on the mic pretty soon as well, but as we can sort things out, thank you so much all for bearing with us as we sort out a fully online LCS. It's not the easy thing to do in all time, and I have a lot of love for all our producers and techs and everything who have done way more work than I have getting this online. Massive shouts to them. I just kind of sit here with the microphone and talk, and you know, my job's comparatively easy. Meanwhile, Froggen's job comparatively easy. Gets big damage into Eika, dodge the Paddle Star as well, chunks him down to half. Summoner heal again used, but to be fair, I mean, cooldowns are meant to be spent, and honestly, if all Eika is doing is spamming heal on cooldown and nothing else happening, not the end of the world. We'll see if Dignitas can actually punish that cooldown the next time around on anything more than just a farm lead. We'll point out that Immortals laning well elsewhere. You can see in the jungle, in the bot lane, in the top lane, they've all got farm leads, so they're actually up gold and up that Ocean Drake, so we can kind of look at Froggen and say, hey, good job there, but everywhere else, Immortals are more than stacking up. Nice trade again. Go to the side. Every time you get hit with the Aatrox W, move to the side if you can help it. Turn 90 degrees. You'll get away almost no matter what. Well done with that one. sOAZ still going to feel pretty comfortable. Has more minions to farm if he wants them. Decent punch. 215 true damage. And a jungler waiting in the wings on a control ward, so he knows he's not there. Will they find the trade? There's the facebreaker backwards, the Q forward, and as well, they're going to find that stun. Will it be enough for the dive? They chain the stuns together, and Huni, he might just drop. The dunk comes in. Now there's Pantheon as well, and he stuns him with the turret range. He's going to drop to it. Nicely played by Akaadian. A great counter kick, and Hakuho was on the roam, though, but it's there, and he has Aftershock. They could theoretically dive this Pantheon. Looks like they're not going to do it, though. Overall, 1-for-1, a great counter kick by Akaadian, but First Blood still comes through to Immortals onto their top laner. That is Sett even farther ahead. Akaadian has to take this top lane farm, and Huni is so far behind here. And they have swapped the players over, though. Johnsun took the recall. Watch that fight again. This is beautiful. Sees the trade has begun. Instant. And look at this. E first, then R afterwards. That is the ideal Sejuani combo. If you stun with ulti, you cannot stun with E. And then that stun by Akaadian, obviously perfect. Had him in turret range, able to burn him down. And there's no reason for Akaadian to keep fighting that one, so smart of him to back off there as well. But the lane swaps have come through, right? Dignitas want to get first Herald if they can help it. They've managed to equalize the farm. Even though Johnsun is often getting the second recall, the one behind Apollo, he's CSing well enough that even though MF takes a BF Sword recall, he can take a BF Sword recall, she takes a Berserker Cruise recall, Johnsun can do the same. So holding up there item-wise, not a big problem there. Also of note, I want to point out Berserker Greaves are incredibly efficient as an item. You are getting more than the gold value in stats, which can be misleading, but it is a really strong item. This is something that I saw Reckless do a lot a couple years ago, is he would often do first item Berserker's Greaves. Partially because I think he values the movement speed so much, but also just in general, the item is absurdly efficient. If you don't need defensive stats, you should really try to get it as soon as possible. I would never get Berserker Greaves later than after my first full completed item. Like say you finish Infinity Edge or Essence Reaver, stop by and get your Greaves. It's important to finish them up. I think it's actually a really big deal. All right, Kobe is almost ready to get back onto the cast. So oh, that's a big stun. Nice cleanse. Johnsun nearly perfect on that one. Aphromoo could re-engage, finds the CC ulti, perfectly aimed over the two of them as well. An easy kill into Hakuho, and Apollo could not possibly help. Beautifully done there. Aphromoo playing that fight perfectly, and Akaadian showing up for good measure. As I said, Kobe back on the cast very soon, getting final audio checks on him. And a 600 gold lead. Dignitas doing a really good job finding that kill topside. Started by Hakuho, started by Apollo as well, and perfect play from the Dignitas bot lane. So 500 gold lead. Cloud Drake alive, but both duo lanes are topside. Herald, by the way, already taken, already went to Akaadian. Not a problem for him there at all, so we're going to expect this gold lead to grow by another 500. EV to me is expected value to me on a Rift Herald is about 500 gold. You figure sometimes you only get 2 plates, sometimes you get 3 plates, sometimes a bit more rarely it fully cracks the turret. So to me, I kind of consider that objective worth more than an assisted kill. Because also, obviously, the turret going down is also some level of value in and of itself. Now you're going to see them walk down towards the bottom side. Dignitas actually want to slow down the chance at a Drake Soul stack. They've got the entire squad down here. Do want to point out, though, that sOAZ has the push going in the bottom lane, but this Drake is already being hit. There is no one to defend this one. This is going to be a formality. Nicely smited. Well done. Cloud Drake picked up. And we're going to be on the Infernal Soul. I'm hearing Kobe in my headphones. We may have him about ready to go here. As the Infernal Rift is in, a 600 gold lead for Dignitas, and they have tied the Drake count. Quick bot lane shove now. Again, Herald is in the inventory. 1 minute till plates drop, and they are going to summon here. You would love to wait till 2 plates die before you summon, but you don't have that luxury of time. Autos come in. That's plate number 1. And then as long as you stay remotely nearby Akaadian, plate number 2 and 3. So there you go. Rift Herald in that case is only worth 320 gold because the first plate was already claimed for themselves. You know, slightly lower than expected value there on the Herald, but that, you know, that's just the game sometimes. Immortals was there, they were ready to defend, and you know, 300 gold is still pretty good.
Woohoo! I'm here for the turret plate party, freak. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You are a bit loud at my end, though.
Okay, well, maybe we'll get that continually adjusted. Thank you for all the help trying to get me here.
Yeah, it was all me, bud.
All right. Bring us up to speed on this game, though. Rift Herald just used on bottom side for Dig. They're starting to gain a lot of control here, and first item power spikes do come in. Froggen had been trouncing Eika, by the way, in the mid lane, and has completed his runic echoes, so see if they can actually come over defend this red buff here for Akaadian.
Yeah, this is a Froggen thing I've noticed a lot more, is that he very often goes for a no magic mantle. Certainly this is a Merc Treads game, don't get me wrong, right? Zoe, Sejuani, Leona, like you want that item, but he's very keen to get some MR to make sure his 1v1s are a bit safer. Just kind of, as I've been kind of casting almost all the Froggen games so far of this week, all 3 of them, maybe 4. But yeah, I mean, poking off against Eika, he got the early Pantheon gank at level about 4, burned Summon Heal, forced a recall, and from then on, like, Froggen had an XP lead, so he's often fighting 6v5. The first recalls are about equal, like, in terms of item, like, quantity. But yeah, mid lane's been getting slaughtered. Immortals, they got a nice first blood top lane. However, it was counter ganked by Akaadian ultimate. Dignitas got a nice 3-on-2 top side as well. They crashed some plates down on the bottom side. So yeah, Dignitas now up 1,000 gold, feeling comfortable in the mid game.
And this is going to turn into a lot of team fights, right? Because both of these teams have drafted very heavy tools for this. So Immortals still have some good options. We mentioned in Champ Select the long range CC right now around mid lane. You do have Sejuani coming in behind Froggen. Can he get him?
Well, he's going to be asleep. He's going to burn the cleanse, and here comes Pantheon, but way back by the turret. Didn't quite expect his location there as Akaadian takes 1,000,000 turret damage. Nice CC back. Xmithie did burn the ulti to lock it down a little bit longer, but ultimately able to walk away safely.
Let me know if how the volume is sounding too. We keep moving me a little bit closer, a little bit further away from the mic, but I think that we found the sweet spot here.
I'm fine.
All right.
I can hear you. It's good enough.
All right, let's track this roam then, because top lane has had quite a bit of action, and Hakuho and Xmithie looking to keep it rolling.
Yeah, this could be a pretty sizable gank. Huni's over the wall. Aphromoo runs quickly. Hakuho's running as fast as it can. Easy enough. Smite, they're going to grab top scuttle. Not a problem there. Herald's going to respawn in not too terribly long. Under a minute here. In Fiddleback, 1.5 minutes. So Dignitas can, if they can keep the pressure on, are going to get 2 objectives in under 2 minutes.
Yeah, definitely rolling ahead quite nicely for them. Everybody actually backing off as well. There's so much tension in this game. Tiebreakers at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Especially with the added... Oh, Huni actually going for a trade here with sOAZ as he chases him down.
Wow. Has to burn the ulti. At least gets a knockup for some heal back. But honestly, sOAZ is kind of getting his way with this matchup. You can see a 23 CS lead. Another roam topside. This is the 3v2. If Immortals find them, yeah, out they go. Run away. Eika, though, sees it. Finds his sleep. Pantheon is going to be a hard target to stop, though. Afro can walk in front of the paddle star if needed. No
True
problem.
support. Bodyguard there. Going to stand in front no matter what. It's still a decent chunk onto him, though. Akaadian trying to heal back up off the Gromp. I think that little bit of poke is even enough just to get the second Rift Herald here for Immortals to try and gain some ground back and damage one of these turrets.
Yeah, it's going to be nice for them. They definitely need some of the money back in. Top turret is actually at Herald killable basically at this point. Also a stun. A dive to the top side. Huni flash to get away. This turret's so incredibly low. The dunk onto the backside, but still happy to be on the Aatrox. No ulti available. Here comes the rest of the squad, though, and it's certainly not enough. Immortals grab this kill. They don't even need the Herald, but careful. Okay, he's fine. Apollo's fine. Turret's hitting him, but he's okay. Turret drops, but it's traded on the other side of the map. I think Johnsun got first turret gold. I think he was a little bit faster on the play. So able to get the extra 150 on the Dignitas side. He's rich, steals a Gromp, denies some waves of the top side. Nicely done.
Yeah, and he's pretty close to par with Apollo as far as the 80 carry race. He finally finishes his Infinity Edge with a little bit of extra crit. So everybody rushing back for this dragon fight. Meanwhile, on top side, I have to say, Huni seemed like he was not on the same page as the rest of Dig. Everyone else had ceded the Rift Herald and had completely backed off that area of the map. But Huni sticking around at the tower gives over another kill in the tower trade. And it's up to Dignitas to try and right the ship now.
Not quite willing to fight for that last ward auto attack as the Q comes down for some poke, but Immortals looks like they're comfortable. They can walk forward, kill the controllers, put their own ones down. You can see 3 controllers, 4 actually, on your screen right now, denying the vision. Dignitas have to face check with their bodies. They knock one ward down, and now feel comfortable enough. But we can see Huni is topside. He has TP, and now he's going to burn it. Going to try to join up in the fight. Afro walks in, ball on, lands the Q, gets in there. Big damage on Xmithie, who has to flash away, stays alive. Re-engage towards the Drake. It's almost in spite range. Who's going to grab that one? Nicely done by Akaadian. Knockups into the backline. Huni staying alive. Ulti going to miss from Aphelios, but his fortune's going to open up onto nearly 3 of them. Kills traded back and forth, but looks like it's going a bit better for Dignitas. Apollo's trying to run away from Akaadian. He can't quite kite him out of double cover the Pantheon. Health bars are low. Eika is going to get over the wall and pick up 1. Looking for the next Spell Thief opportunity. Has the flash. Not quite going to find Froggen. And has to respect the rest of the re-engage. Burns the Spell Thief again. Just barely gets away. Kill lead goes to Dignitas, as well as the Drake being picked up.
And this game is going to be determined by all these Drake fights, Freak. But they're both going for this big 5-on-5. That one starts with Huni actually getting good teleport flank coming in. Akaadian hits the smite. So, like you talked about, they get the objective first. They also get the extra kills. And now this is, 3 of them going to Akaadian on the Pantheon. Should be able to rush to his Black Cleaver very quickly. All right, let's take another look. Again. Yeah, because here goes Huni, teleports in, has the extra move speed, and he takes this blast cone behind the Immortals team. causes complete disarray, spreading the carries here. Apollo has to flash away on MF and does get off a good ultimate, but Akaadian is on him the entire time. Racks up that extra kill, chases down Apollo for this one. And if it wasn't for Eika landing this bubble onto aphromoo, it was going to be a pretty clean sweep there. sOAZ, though, going to have to try and fight off 3.
Big shield, 480 true damage, now trying to run away, but has reinforcements, flashes, but just as the team comes back over, I don't know if he had to burn that. I think they were out of damage, especially with the reinforcements coming right behind, but does burn the summoner spell. Good collapse by Dignitas, but now Herald has been summoned, and that will be ready to charge in the mid lane. If they get like 3 seconds here, they get enough damage to knock the wave down. Apollo, so far so good. There's the charge, but the wave's getting cleared. Johnsun with the Infernum. Though the wave clear got nerfed in 10-6, still good enough. They knock it down, and the turret will live on about 10%.
Meanwhile, teleport from sOAZ topside to try and defend against Froggen, who is split pushing there, and Orianna, answering some of the tower damage. And it remains neither of them going down, but it is the double item power spike for sOAZ here. Went for the Blade of the Ruin King on Sett, and Xmithie should be able to slip away, but this counter push for Dig doesn't have any minions behind it.
Yeah, not a lot gained right there. Not the biggest thing. So this is interesting that sOAZ is actually building to try to be a 1v1 carry, right? He's building items that are objectively better at fighting Aatrox 1v1, objectively weaker at team fighting. There's no defensive stats. Ooh. Big stun in the front side. Huni has to burn the stopwatch, but might be re-engaged. Just gets away, just barely stays alive. Health bar so low, though. Bullet over the top. sOAZ on the back line. Can he find the next opening? Not just yet, but it's Hakuho who claims the kill with Ignite. Now sOAZ is trying to cut away from Froggen. Has the shield yet again. He's burning down, tags him with the ultimate. But there is enough follow-through to get that kill back. Froggen's going to stay alive. Yeah, I think sOAZ had no way out. He just said, oh, I have to burn the ulti. I guess we'll try, and it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, it's just funny because it looks like one of those kind of backdoor wrestling videos where they injure themselves. He tries to do the suplex and ends up going down. sOAZ unable to do anything about Froggen there, who has racked up another kill here. The Orianna was the best farming champion in the early game because of the gank from Pantheon. Froggen is still doing that. So Dignitas, even though they take a hit there in losing the team fight, still have this massive shockwave that they can try and rely upon. The problem becomes how do they deal with all of this hard CC with Sejuani and Leona being able to follow up on any of these Sleepy Trouble bubbles that Eika can just spam out on cooldown?
I don't know. It's going to be difficult, right? If Immortals can actually find, good poke opportunities and good long-range plays, you're just relying on a Pantheon ultimate and the Nautilus running fast at you. Top Scuttle going to get taken, no problem. Baron, of course, is alive. Third Drake spawns in 1 minute. Dignitas are roughly on pace for a 34-minute Infernal Soul if they retain map control, but worth pointing out that Immortals, of course, have completely tied the gold back up. They are in a completely comfortable spot right now. And for a squad that, had 2 chances to pick up 1 win to secure their playoff spot, just 1, they couldn't quite find it, but they've gotten back to comfort here against Dignitas.
Yeah, and I think they're actually pretty set up for this one. No teleport right now on Huni in the top side, so I think the timer might be a little bit desynced. There's 30 seconds left on the Infernal Drake as it's ticking down. He actually is going to be able to get it up to that top tower, so need a couple of extra wards to set it up.
Ooh.
No way.
I love this.
No way.
Yeah. This is so nice. This is so nice. They blast coned over. Okay, Huni is going to spot it, but his team is nowhere nearby. And he's not even going to do it yet. Sweeper, there's the ward. He's like, guys, it's a 7K. It's a 7K. Get over here. And we'll see, though, because the rest of the Immortals are there, and can they zone the squad? Huni can't stop it, but
he's done his job.
That's the idea.
That was his job right there. His job was hide and seek, and Huni is world champion at hide and seek now. He finds the sneaky Baron attempt, so Dig can defend it, and we'll be able to pick up that Infernal Drake.
Wow, that is tight, right? Because Immortals, I mean, if Huni doesn't spot it, that is Baron for Drake, and that you will always take that trade. But as it stands, it was nothing for third Infernal, and now backs against the wall. Aphromoo, he doesn't have the line of sight for the Q, so the Chainstun's going to come in at some point. He can stone play. He wanted to Q off to the turret rubble, and he couldn't find the angle on it. Either way, he finally does get away, gets slept again, but he's fine.
Yeah, that's not exactly the target that Immortals wanted. So you see Xmithie doesn't pull the trigger on the Sejuani ult as well, even though they do have that combo we talked about. Sleepy Trouble Bubble into Leona ultimate. Problem is, you know, it's a Nautilus with stone plates, so they don't want to waste cooldowns on him, and instead will just take the tower for sOAZ and back up. They do still have control wards around Baron area, and with next Infernal Drake 4 minutes away, this is an area they can play off.
All right, bit of wave clear. sOAZ, though, oh, he gets caught, and Xmithie, thankfully, right around the corner. Can start stacking up. They're going to find that first stun. There's the dunk. I love it. Brings him back over the wall. Aphro has nowhere to go. He has to flash away. Oh, that's going to be a heartbreak. He thought he had it set up and gets kind of pulled around. Bit of damage from Johnsun, and ultimately no harm, no foul.
Yeah, no harm, no foul. In the end on the bottom side, it is Huni once again getting another wave into tower, though. Aatrox just continuing to farm up, and he's able to transition over to the Gromp too. He needs this because he does have to catch up to sOAZ, who's really pulling ahead. Now sOAZ with the Bramble Vest, really well positioned in that 1v1. Anytime Aatrox uses any autos on him, applies the self debuff there for the healing, and takes a lot of power out of that 1v1 for him.
Yeah, got to be several thousand gold off right now. The 3 kills and 20 extra CS. That's obviously pretty comfortable for sOAZ in the matchup. Huni, though, as you're kind of saying, right? He's able to push waves into the turret, take a jungle camp, and then fall off. So if he's not directly interacting, it's fine. You can play for ward control. And Huni, again, in a bad spot. Nice shock, though, because he has to flash wave for the anchor toss. Nice attempt by aphromoo. That would have nearly been a kill if that summoner wasn't there. But now a re-engage. They find the stun onto 2. Only 1 can cleanse. The stone plate is popped, but they can burn him down. Then aphromoo is going to fall. Immortals 5v4 on the map, and sOAZ right behind. Huni's too low to fight. Immortals have complete control right now.
All right, this is the moment of truth here. Pushing in on this tower. Are they actually going to be able to pull back to bait Baron? Eika gets chunked out really low.
That's a root. That's good damage. The ulti's gonna land. Beautiful play. Johnsun steps up massively and kills the opposing mid laner.
That's why they first picked the Aphelios. Once again, I have to say, there have been a lot of the AD carry players stepping up on this champion. Cody-sun had some flash forwards for game-winning, teamfight-winning plays as well. Johnsun here, not to be outdone, able to take down Eika for the annoying bubble spam that's been coming out, and just puts a stop to anything Immortals were thinking. They had a player advantage there, trying to decide if they were going to push on secondary turret or pull back to the Baron. And Johnsun makes the decision easy for them. It's a head back to base and reset.
Okay, but still, look at the game state. Dignitas actually up in gold right now, about 900. As the wave gets cleared in the mid lane, 2 to 4 in turrets. Like, this is kind of incredible to me, right? Is that Immortals are actually up in turrets. They have the gold from that. A lot of the members are up in farm. It's everything but mid lane, really. But mid lane farm is kind of what's giving Dignitas the gold lead. You've got a pretty great clip by Froggen, the only one above 10 CS a minute at this 285, and he's, you know, getting over towards the next piece.
And so much of these team fights is going to be cooldown reliance. If you look across at the flashes, that was an offensively blown flash for Johnsun. So while Eika does go down there, Immortals need to try and use every scenario to their advantage, knowing that Aphelios only has cleanse at his disposal to try and defend against all of the hard engage that they have. You got to think that Eika, Xmithie, and Hakuho are all looking for him.
All right, they might try here to Xmithie down to 2k HP. The Phantom Dancer going to help slightly in keeping Aphelios alive against Big Burst, but obviously can't run away any faster with that item, not realistically anyway. And you're going to see them now play towards top river. Now, this is interesting because Dignitas are on Infernal Soul Point. Immortals would need 3 straight to grab that one. So Dignitas are kind of playing with house money there. That, you know, losing Drake doesn't matter, but getting Drake means a lot. Baron, that was where they're playing towards. They're playing towards top river, playing in Fog of War. There is one where the spots and a TP. That teleport plus Pantheon over the top. Can they find the separation kill? Eika is alone, and he does have flash. He's going to get away right there, and ulti's over the top. Going to find some decent damage as well. Root's going to be found, but not enough for a re-engage. That kind of feels good to Immortals for me, though. They've got way more damage dealt, and it might push Dig off this.
So
I'm going to try. Looking for it. They're going to get Hakuho. He has his own flash. He's got a lot of durability there as well. W popped. Apollo gonna maybe find some damage. sOAZ is in the back, looks towards Froggen, dunks him off to the side, but can't find the re-engage. Shotgun comes in, 1 for 1 so far. Xmithie right back into the back line. over the wall again. This should be a pretty safe Pantheon. So 4v4, but missing top laner with missing support. That is a member lead, I would say, to Dignitas. They've got better champions on the map. Health bars are low, but if they can lifesteal at all, they're going to be healthy here. Starting up under this one. Smite available for both junglers. It is Infernal Soul potential for Dignitas, as again it gets leashed down to 3k. You know Akaadian will try. He has flash as well. He's got a ward in the pit. Eika looks for the bubble. Can't find that one. Bit more poke comes down for Apollo. Still dancing back and forth. Huni has the potential flank. Might try, but Immortals cannot stop trying. They must look for the smite. They must look for the burst. It's going to be picked up. Nicely done. Now a quick dive into the backline. That should be Afro dying, but the re-engage for Huni, it's so beautiful. Sorry, it's Hakuho who drops down. It's a 2-for-0, and Dignitas can walk over this one. Xmithie cannot get away, and suddenly it is a 2 versus 4 on the map. Actually, 2 versus 5, as no one even dropped. Afro's back on the field, so Dignitas gonna run right for Baron.
Dignitas so happy with the outcome here. They were worried about the teleport for sOAZ once the death timer comes back up, but because Immortals were more fearful of the Infernal Soul. Oh, actually, that's going to be another free kill.
Oh, just barely away, but still, how do you steal this? Like, there's no realistic way. Akaadian has Smite. This is going to be his. All 5 have it slightly early on the Smite, but they grab it, and they get a 3,000 gold with a Baron buff.
Yeah, Immortals were so concerned with the Infernal Soul that I think they rushed this play a little bit. Because if you look at the timer, sOAZ still had 15 seconds on his death timer. If they tried to wait for him to come up, they could have him teleport immediately there. It looks like in the end, they do get the dragon for themselves and deny the soul. Dignitas get a bunch of extra kills. They get the Baron buff, so now they can push in and really extend their gold lead.
Yeah, they went up 3 kills in a Baron. That's 3,000 gold in and of itself. And this mid turret obviously going to fall, make it 3,500 so far in the aftermath of that Drake fight. Looking for a bit more, make it, maybe 4,000 pretty easily if mid tier 2 can drop. And I mean, how are you going to stop this really? It's pretty easy to poke this down. 2 cannon minions. Not a lot of great wave clear for Immortals' side. Very easy for, obviously, Aphelios to do this as the minions all drop down. Okay, be respectful. Bitter damage comes in, but it's still getting chunked lower and lower. New wave comes in 5 seconds.
And what a reversal of fates, Freak. Dignitas already 2-0 in week 9. If they win this tiebreaker, will kind of take Immortals' spot away from them, as they had been at the top of the standings, impressing so many people with all of the wins that they had been able to stack up. Dig are not done yet. They've got GA on Akaadian, they've got the Baron buff, and they continue the onslaught.
Yeah, it's going to still keep going. Still double cannon minion. That is just guaranteed DPS on this turret. Getting lower and lower. Yeah, make it rain. Doesn't do quite enough to stop this. They need a new paddle star. But here's the new wave. There is inhibitor cracked. Still over a minute on this. This should be an easy takedown on the inhibitor. You don't fight for the turret. You don't fight for the thing that can't defend itself either. So down goes that one. Dignitas an easy claim there. Now Top's in a good spot. Bot isn't, but Top's in a reasonable spot right here. They can crash that wave and probably get another turret.
Freak, I actually like this. Johnsun and Froggen, both obviously, like we talked about in Champ Select, with the cleanses because of the amount of CC, but Johnsun also, on top of his cleanse, has a QSS now. So he has multiple get out of jail free cards for all of the attempts that Immortals have tried to throw at them, and it really has been a game of the Dignitas carries remaining unkilled through 32 minutes here, and just keeping up the pressure. Top inhibitor turret will be next on the list.
All right, damage up there. That's going to be a nice stun. Johnson's going to burn Summon or Cleanse, leave the QSS up, but again, gets the chance to auto-attack now. They know that Hakuho is missing an ultimate, and Johnson's really no less safe if he can keep his fingers on his keyboard. Xmithie looks to try to wave clear on the side. Can't quite find that. Turret still taking damage. Now, Baron buff is ending at 8 seconds. I think it's turret then out. Take the reset, buy your items. There's so much golden inventory on Dignitas right now. You're seeing the first channel start, and okay, he can TP back in. He's going to do that, but so is on the flank. This is going to be the play. Baron buff is gone, and the gold lead doesn't really exist right now. Huni's stunned up in melee range. Will they find the re-engage? If there's a moment, it's got to be this one, Immortals. If there's a play, it's this one, and they aren't able to do anything. sOAZ still walking forward. The stun on Froggen. There's the re-engage, trying for it now. sOAZ is there, looks for the dunk. He's going to find one, but the QSS flash was saved by Johnsun. That was the one target he couldn't pin down. Gets the root on the way out. Anyone else was probably a kill, but QSS flash was up.
Oh my goodness. We mentioned the QSS and the cleanse. Johnsun has to use both. All summoners for all of the carries are down on Dig. But I kind of want to go back to that Huni teleport because he ends up with less life than when he recalled
Then he started.
because he teleported in so deep on the minion. And they were able to focus fire him under the tower. That teleport was actually net negative on your health. And that forced Dignitas into a full retreat pattern, which does blow all summoners and the QSS of Johnsun. Cooldowns
But
will
focus
definitely...
on this. Focus on this. The Drake's coming up in 4 seconds. Dignitas have reset and have gold on the map. Like they're going on Soul Point right now. And the Drake's alive.
No flashes available for the carries. No cleanses available for the carries here for Dig.
Wow.
But-
Can't even contest.
Yep. No fight taken, so it won't matter.
Oh, Huni's going to try to matter right here. They'll get some decent damage into Apollo. Xmithie's going to be on the side. Look at the damage in Hakuho. That could be an easy kill picked up. The support, they're fighting for their lives here. A big chunk. What a huge play. sOAZ found the opening on Johnsun. It'll be traded back to the opposing AD carry. 4v4 with a knock up into the back line. sOAZ, he's going to try as hard as he can. Gets the punch. 1,000 damage on Froggen. And it's not enough. Huni almost finds Hakuho there as well. A 2-for-1 so far in favor of Dignitas. And here comes Pantheon. Akaadian wants in. Gets stopped up. Xmithie finds the Q, but Akaadian flashes in. There's the root. They're going to catch Eika as well. And this could be the fight that ends the split for Immortals. They had so many chances to grab a spot in playoffs. They threw a 7,000 gold lead on Saturday. They lost to Evil Geniuses on Sunday. They rematched Dignitas today, and it's simply not going to be enough. Dig on a 3-win streak are one Nexus away from the last spot in playoffs. They have a date with Golden Guardians. They slaughter Immortals, a deathless game for Froggen, and we'll see you in an hour.
Can they make it happen? Dignitas 3-0, looking for another one at the end of the day. And what a week 9 it has been for them. They really have had this big resurgence, looking like a completely different team than most of the split.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a step up. I mean, we had some of the stats. Dash read them off during the analysis segment where Dignitas are 3-6, or were 3-6 in the second round robin. But that was 3-6 counting the 2-0 week. They were 1-6 in the second round robin coming into week 9. They needed a 2-0 to have a chance. They needed Immortals to go 0-2 to have a chance. Those things all happened. They're now on 3 wins in a row, and look, they have one more to go. They have one more team to beat. If they can do it, they are the 6th and final team in playoffs. Now, keep in mind, there's, of course, more going on here as well. There is another tiebreaker for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That opening game is going to be right after the break, so stick around. We'll see you soon.